Today, I'm going to talk about a single line in A Course in Miracles. The script is written. Okay, that line is found in Workbook Lesson 158, which is Today I Learned to Give as I Receive. It's in the fourth paragraph, and it simply says the script is written, period. It goes on to say that when experience will come to end your doubting has been set. For we but see the journey from the point at which it ended, looking back on it, imagining we make it once again, reviewing mentally what has gone by. I think that is a popular quote for course students. Generally, we seem to call to mind the script is written when we're in some kind of distress or upset, or we're deep into blaming someone and feeling angry to kind of lessen the emotional impact of whatever form is occurring before our eyes. Well, the script's written, so it was always going to be that way. And somehow we might feel a little bit lighter by contemplating that. But it really applies to everything. And it can really bring us right up to the moment where we see the tiny gap instead of seeing ourselves in salvation as being decades or eons away. It brings us right up close to the place where the truth is written in the tiny gap by us. So right now the script is written. The script is written that I'm going to say these words. If you're listening, it's going to include that you hear them, because the script is written encompasses everything we think, say, or do. You can include what we hear or smell or anything our senses report to us as part of the script. So there's nothing in our awareness that isn't a proper item for transcending. So to kind of dive into that a little bit more, it kind of coincides with forgiveness in the sense that we tend to think about forgiveness when we're upset, not when the guns are stilled an instant, not when we have a truce going on, certainly not when we think we're triumphing. And my teacher, Ken Wapnick, would say, anytime you experience that joy of triumph in the world where you got something you wanted, you won something you wanted, you prevailed in any type of conflict or competition, you're reliving the original instant you went yippee after believing you were separate from God. So there's nothing that happens in this world that isn't part of the ego thought system, which means it has a common thread of fear. So the fear is the fabric of the dream that we live in. We can't escape it by, believing we see a form that we like, as opposed to a form that seems to upset us. So the script is written, we can think in terms of the same terms as the concept of forgiveness. The concept of forgiveness can arise most commonly when I'm upset by an event, a person, a circumstance, a book, anything that upsets me. Instead of focusing our practice, waiting for the antagonist that seems to allow fear, pain, and guilt to rise up within me, if I recognize that I'm walking in that fear, pain, and guilt, that it's the foundation I'm standing on, an unstable foundation because it seems to shift and change, but it is the foundation I stand on until I choose again. So every moment is a proper moment to forgive, to realize the script is written, to try to transcend that which we've identified with. I identified with the ego thought system. Now I believe I'm an ego. I am, for all intents and purposes, the manifestation of that ego thought system. And if I want to shift my perception or dissociate from what I have associated with and seen as myself in the mirror every morning, then every moment of every minute, of every hour, of every day, I want to remember the script is written. I don't need an antagonist in form that will cause me to experience the world I'm living in, the world of the ego thought system. So the same thing for forgiveness. I don't need an event. I don't need an antagonist in form. The form is a shadow on the wall. The playing out of the script is a shadow on the wall. What is casting that shadow is what I need to look at. What is in my mind? That's where the script is written. That's where forgiveness takes place. Because there's no one to forgive. And ultimately, there's nothing to forgive outside of yourself. The experience of upset is never caused by something outside of yourself. And I think it's a really important concept to kind of understand. We're never upset by the shadow on the wall. That shadow on the wall is divorced from our experience. It just gives us something to blame and nothing else. It is not cause, it is an effect. And so sometimes it can be helpful. We're really caught up in it, and we feel the chains around our feet and the iron bands and the iron balls, or we can say, wait a minute, do I want to learn that I'm not upset for the reason I think? Didn't I come here to learn that? Can I hear the message that it's impossible that any shadow on the wall, any part of the movie that is playing out a script is the cause of the way I feel? Can I understand that? I have to hear it. I have to listen, hear, and ultimately to accept it and to experience myself and the world differently. To see with Christ's vision means to let go of everything I decided was the truth about the script, about forgiveness, about the world. Because I will not see the world any differently than I see myself. If I see the world as angry, bitter, afraid, guilty, that is how I see myself. Not for the specifics. It's not because of a specific thing someone did that my body did too. It's just the fabric through which we move, the fabric of our lives. What is fundamental to us? It's the lifeblood to maintain the dream is to experience those things and see those things. But we study the course because we want to learn something else. We want to accept Christ's vision in place of what we've decided was the truth. We want to say, I do not know the thing I am. I do not know where I'm going. I do not know who walks with me. Because in that acknowledgement that we don't know, we allow the truth to reveal itself to us. It can't reveal itself if we decided what it was and that it was fearful on top of that. So I would like to say one more thing about the script being written. It's not that I wrote into the script that I would be harmed physically by another body, or I would witness war, or I would witness children being abused. The script being written is not about specifics. The script is written in response to the idea of separation coming in to the mind that is love. And when the idea of separation comes, the manifestation of that in form occurs in a tiny tick of an instant. And then we identify with an aspect. So the idea of separation, fragments and fragments and fragments, billions and billions of times. And now it appears to us as the phenomenal world. The only purpose of the script is to prove the separation happened. Because if the separation happened, it doesn't matter what the specifics are. The script has to reveal there's a separation. It has to reveal conflict's real and that you have cause for fear. You should be very afraid because there's something outside of you that wants to hurt you, because separation means a space between you and something else with conflicting goals. And so when we say the script is written, it's important not to kind of get into that habit of saying, but I didn't want that to happen to me. No, we don't want things to happen to us. We want something to be the cause of our upset. When I turn my back on love and believe in separation, I only experience the opposite of love. So love is the truth. When you turn your back on it, and love is unity and oneness, now you look at the idea of separation and join with it. You can only experience love's opposite. There is no love in the ego thought system because it's the opposite of love. So we need to have something to account for how terrible we feel, how nothing seems to work in the world. We try and try and try. It doesn't, things fail. Things may seem to work for a little while, but in the end, we all die. So the Course sets us on this path of looking, waiting, quietly doing nothing. And while we're doing that with Jesus, he is leading us up the ladder. So we start with the world's concept of forgiveness, And ultimately, at the top of the ladder, we see there was nothing to forgive, and we choose again. We made a mistake, and we finally experience ourselves as we are in truth, and not in the way that we imagined ourselves to be, autonomous and independent from love instead of being a part of love and a part of God. So I think that's it. I hope it was helpful. I always end feeling like there's so much more to say, but I think I'll just leave it at that. And have a great day. Bye.